At what point when you're making a track, do you kind of lose sight of it as various people's individual ideas, and it just becomes the expression of like the group as a whole?
Sheesh.
Great question.
Yes, great one. I really think when all the like pieces come together, like when we're able to write the verses and actually like track them, you know what I'm saying, and see how every verse or like hook or whatever lines up together.
Yeah.
I think once we have like that, like kind of, you know, portrait painted a bit, we're able to kind of sit back and kind of be like, okay, what should we do here, there? And then I think at that point it becomes smooth sailing, where it's just like it feels like now it's like more of an expression. Once we kind of like, ooh, like just sitting back and looking at it kind of thing, or listening kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Does it change much once it's got to that point where you're kind of able to sit back and look at it as a whole?
A bit. I mean, I guess maybe when it gets into like the mixing phase, it kind of changes into some other shit, and it definitely like begins to turn into something else. Which you're like, oh shit, like, you know what I mean? I guess I wouldn't say too much, but once we have something that we really like kind of like sit on it. But when everything is like ready, Iggy and Kenny starting to like mix that vision, and it's like, oh my god,
Starting to go up. And like, granted, man, like, granted, just to add to what Josh is saying, like, granted, like, we're human, so like, it doesn't always like just fucking come out like this fucking amazing thing. But I mean, like, I think we're just lucky enough to like be in a group with all these people. Everyone like just brings a certain energy to the table, man, and it's just like when it all just like fucking formulates like right, like it's just fucking like beautiful, like it's seamless, you know what I mean? Yeah. I guess after that happens, man, it's just like yeah, like Josh said, it's like an expression, because like I'm not even thinking about like making a song anymore. I'm just like chilling, we just vibing, and then we leave, with that bounce. We like, yo, bounce that, bounce that real quick, so we can play this on the way home.
On the way home, bro. Like please just bounce that. Please don't forget.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. You're saying there as well, you know, that you're human and not everything is gonna come together to make an amazing piece of work. How far do you typically like develop an idea before you reject it and decide that maybe it's not worked out how you would have liked it to or imagined initially?
I think it varies. Like,
yeah,
I think it varies.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, where it varies. Like sometimes we'll know instantly after we track it, and we're like, this is kind of whack.
This ain't it. This ain't it.
Right, exactly. And then there'll be moments where like we'll do something, and then it's like, oh, you know, I think this is cool. Like, you know, we'll take it home with us, and you know, kind of live with it for a little bit, then come back and be like, yeah, nah, that shit is kind of whack. So it kind of it varies. It's not really one set.
Definitely.
I feel like
and then even in that process, like sometimes it'll be like, yo, let's sit with this for a little bit, boom, 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 and then somebody else will get a new idea, and then the new idea will just like take it to another level, and then, you know what I'm saying, then the song becomes, you know what I'm saying, a little bit more like widely accepted within the group and shit. But yeah, sometimes we dub shit like minutes after we record this track, like we like, yeah, this ain't really it.
That shit like kind of whack. Like you really know, you'll know in like the moment, like really like in the moment kind of thing. Like, you know, and the moment could appear instantly or the fucking next day or the next week.
You were saying there as well, you know, that someone else can have a new idea and that can kind of change it. How does that change the energy in the room when someone else has a new idea like that sparks something and changes how a song feels or is structured or is kind of existing?
Man, like if it's fire, if it's fucking crack, like everything kind of just like, oh, like, because the song, it might have just needed that. You feel me? It might have just needed, for me personally, from what I've experienced, like, it might have just needed that, like somebody to come in there with like something that just shifts the whole like trajectory of the song in my mind, where like, oh, now I get it. Oh, okay, where like this might need dub, or like, oh, that was a great idea for, oh my gosh, that was ill. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it really like it could really like take the whole shit up another notch for real.
Or someone just like checking some, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like oh, like Josh will be like, yo, Mitch, like, yo, try to deliver the verse this way, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, try to say it this way, or bring it up right here, bring it down right there. you know what I'm saying, just take it in stride and just try to make it better and shit. So,
can you think of an example of that on this record where that happened?
On
On
V-Day?
V-Day, let me think where that shit was prominent. There's I want to say
There's
a
a
few
lot of things that
times.
changed, right? Yeah, there was a
Yeah,
few things that definitely got switched up.
that got like flipped around. I would say, I guess personally, for not necessarily personally, but the last track, the V-Day, it was only like it's like an interlude, or outro. But I recorded bass for it, the lead vocals, and it was just that for a while. And it was great. We was like, yo, this shit's hard. Like,
Facts.
but then Maddie pulled up, and like she laid down these dubs over it, and like fucking melodies over the shit. She harmonized the fuck out of it. And I was like, oh shit. Like we just and then I mean, it like changed the whole, like it just changed the feel. Like it still remained like good, but like it was
Facts.
I think that for me, that's like a pretty tight example of when like somebody added something after, and it just was like, fuck, this shit is crazy.
And again, that just brings back like the just the dopeness of just having all of us nine motherfuckers in a group, you know what I'm saying, just to continue to just like take shit to the next level, put that little seasoning, that little sprinkling on there, you know what I'm saying? And it just, it's like it's dope.
Yeah.
Is there like an optimal, number of people in a room at the one time which you feel kind of leads to your best creativity?
8, 9.
Yeah, all of us. Yeah,
that's the dopest, man.
Yeah, that's a fact. All of us. That's actually works. That works better for us than like.
Hell yeah.
Than like, I mean, we do shit where it's like not all of us, but like that shit still come out crazy. But when it's like all 8 of us or 9, depending on if Danny can be there, that's the best. That's the best.
Yeah, that's the best case, man. That's the best case scenario. Because, bro, like, sometimes we talked about like having to sit with a track or whatever the case may be. With all of us there, it's like pretty much, man, we just like kind of get shit done. Like, or you know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't say it's rare to get all of us in the stew at the same time. Well, not factoring in Denny, but I think more times than not, it's like all of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as close as we can get to that 8 or 9 is the best for me, because everybody gets it out right there, and everybody, you know what I'm saying? It just furthers that like that melting pot of creativity, like right there on the spot. You know what I'm saying? Like just the other night, man, like that shit was mad dope. Like Kenny, one of the producers, he just made a beat right there on the spot. We all just chilling, bullshitting, kicking it, playing Madden or whatever, Call of Duty or whatever they was playing. And Kenny's just cooking up a beat. We go in there, listen to the beat. Josh gets an idea, Maddie gets an idea, I get an idea, boom, boom, record the verse, and then you know what I'm saying? It's just super dope to be able to do that. So that would be my answer. All of us.
All of us together. Straight up.
Do you all bring quite different energies to the room? Does everyone kind of have quite a different role and approach to the process, or
as far as like the writing, like the creation of the records, right?
Yeah.
I think that varies as well. 100%. I think in one record you might have, Mitch or whoever like being hype, or they might, or it just depends on how the record like speaks to the individual in that moment. Where it could be like, oh, I want to write some crazy shit right here, or some more like excited shit, or I can hear something and be like, oh, I actually want to like slow this down and like be very like ethereal. Like it really just, I think that varies as well. If that answers your question, I feel like it definitely depends on how the record might speak to us at the moment.
I mean, you mentioned Vida as well there a little bit earlier. No, a few minutes back, when you were bringing someone else. When you said Maddie came in and it kind of changed the song. Was that what gave it its kind of dreamlike edge? Was that what was kind of changing there in that moment?
Yeah, for sure. I think so. Like it just really brought the motherfucker out. Like, you know what I mean? It really
Yeah.
like it really brightened up the whole song. That there was something there for that song, like in particular. But yeah, I think that's actually like a great example.
Yeah, I never even like knew that shit needed that because we just thought that shit sounded perfect, man.
Right.
And then just to add more to it is just like, yeah, man, definitely took it to another level. We didn't even know that it needed that. So
I mean, you mentioned how it brightened it up there as well. That's the kind of same thing on, Nobis that comes before it, where you kind of have those two pieces and it kind of switches like halfway through, like a minute in or whatever, and it gets a lot brighter. Was that initially kind of two pieces coming together, or how did that shift and that transition in the middle of that song kind of come about?
That's how the production was actually done, where it went from this like kind of crazy, where it just felt very like abrasive, and then it transitioned into something that felt more pretty, I guess, for lack of a better term. That happened in the production. So that's how we actually like got the record. And that song actually was like one of the hardest ones to write at the time. I remember we kind of like were trying to figure out how we would approach it, but like once we did like get it like became so. It's like my favorite song on the album, or top three. But yeah, no, that it definitely, that specifically was already kind of built into the record. So I guess that was more of an intentional thing. And then when it came down to us like kind of performing over it, we just followed along with how the beat was made. We actually, because it was I couldn't even really tell you like as far as like the real like like boom. It really, that record was like the beat was already there. Iggy came in like, yo, check this one out. And then we heard it, and then it was like, oh shit. So I think we just followed along with
they already just created that stage, you know what I'm saying? Like they already created that world, like and then we just like pretty much just like just kind of follow suit
on that bit.
Do the lyrics ever kind of develop separately from the beat, or do you need a beat to kind of trigger that part of your brain where that stream of consciousness can begin?
Usually 9 times out of 10 it's the production first.
100% for me. 100% production.
I think there might have been only like there was only one time I can remember, and we never even used it, where it was Iggy asked me, yo, write something that I can like kind of build something over. And I did that shit, and he was like, yeah, that shit's hard, but we never did nothing to it. So yeah, 100% of the time, 100% of the time, I gotta second Mitch with that. Yeah, but usually it's the production, and
hell yeah, man.
Yeah, and then from there, fucking just take off on it.
At what point do you get an idea of how you want to kind of produce your vocals on a track? I'm thinking about something like Atrophied, where you've kind of got quite a little bit of vocal effects going on there.
I guess it depends on like, I guess how you write it. Like with me specifically for Atrophied, because that's like how my process is. Usually I'll write the song. While I'm writing it, I'll think about how just exactly I'm going to execute it, whether it's tone, if there's harmony ideas. I think usually if there's a harmony or any ad libs, that will be done like kind of on the spot for me. Like I'll go in there, I'll do my thing, and then like I'll think about, how can I do something to bring that out, bring out the vocals and make the song kind of like really pop and shit. And that's kind of what I did for Atrophied. Atrophied's so old too. Like I'm trying to remember back to that time when I did it, because I was like the first song I mean Iggy ever did, and like I was like it's over 2 years ago. So I'm like trying, but from what I can recall, yeah, it hasn't really changed. It's been the same kind of just like I'll write it, think about exactly while I'm writing, like, oh, this word would sound dope if I did this. This section right here would sound dope if I said it like that, if I performed it like that. So it really comes with the writing, just natural.
So the whole record was done over 2 years, kind of a 2-year period.
As a matter of
almost a year.
Yeah.
Maybe about like 10 months we had that shit done.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Right? Like
just about. We had that shit done in like 2019, but we had to then shift and try to focus on how we were gonna like put it out for people to kind of give a fuck. That was the next part. That's why I kind of like, because we would have put it out like, at the time we would have put it out, but it just wouldn't have. We would have probably released it on some deaf ears. So we didn't want that. But yeah, no, it took about 10 months, like Mitch said, where we just locked in and finished it.
What's happening in that year following them when you're trying to figure out a way to get it to as many people as possible? How does that process kind of start?
Oh man, thank God for thank God for our managers. They kind of helped. They kind of came on at the right time. You know, if it was just us, we would have gotten it right regardless. I believe in us wholeheartedly.
Most definitely.
I definitely see just our management as like a part of that story. And an accessory.
They connected a lot of dots, man. They connected a lot of dots. Whereas us doing it ourselves, we would have kind of, I think we'd be able to figure it out, like Josh said, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they're just like, kind of just like one and done. Like, yo, we need this, we need that, boom, boom, boom. This is, and they're fucking on it. Like,
right. So. And vice versa. If it's like, yo, this is what we have. What can we do here? They're like, okay, bet we could do this. It's like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, cool. They really, really connected the dots. So that really helped us in terms of like getting the music in front of the right people and in front of people, period.
So I know we were saying that it was kind of written over that 10 months, and then you have the year following it where you're kind of figuring out how to get it into people's hands. Did Every Time I Die, was that like 2 weeks before the record came out that kind of fell into place? Or was that...
Every Time I Die... You're talking about you're talking about like the written, like the record itself, right?
Yeah.
That song... Nah, I think that song was done very early in the process of E-Day.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, I remember that night. Yeah, I remember that night too. Yeah. That was like, we did that. We did Every Time I Die, maybe like the following weekend. We did Steamy, which is like our first one.
Yeah, that's really early.
Yeah, it's like at the top. Because I remember that night. We was drunk.
At least you remember.
Yeah, right, exactly. That record was done early in the process. So that song is crazy.
Yo. If I'm understanding the question correctly, were you asking like, did we like think that Every Time I Die would be like one of our like singles that we push or?
No, I thought my impression was that it had been written like a few weeks before the record dropped.
Like dropped. Oh,
yeah, but
okay.
I think I'm getting mixed up. Yeah, I mean the back and forth on Every Time I Die is so sharp. Are you recording vocals at the same time for that, or are you tracking it separately?
That was actually done. Well, me and Mitch did ours at the same time. I believe Dre had something, or no, I think Iggy had something, and Iggy and Dre, if I'm not mistaken, co-wrote the hook. So at the time, it was that night where we laid down like the foundation. Me and Mitch wrote our verses together.
We wrote them together, but I don't know. I didn't know if you meant were we recording them at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, just the way you kind of feed off each other's energy in it, and the way you're kind of just, back and forth.
Yeah, so that definitely came from we wrote it together, so it worked like that from the jump. But like as far as like actually both being in the booth, we didn't do that.
Yeah.
Like on some Motown shit.
Yeah, we was not Jackson 5 in that. He was not doo-wopping. We nah.
That would be kind of dope though.
Who recorded first?
That would be
Josh. Yeah, Josh was you.
Yeah. I was the one that hopped in first, and then Mitch hopped in. I hopped in.
And boom,
Mitch hopped in.
Were you listening to each other's takes in between going in and out of the booth?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we definitely were listening to each other's takes.
Yeah,
it was like because the way it's set up in the studios, when we were actually recording, you can hear it come out the studio. You can hear, come out the studio, out the speakers. I'm sorry. Yeah, so we was all like, it was really like a engaged kind of situation.
Yeah, it just kind of enables you to feed off the energy of it. You can. That's kind of obviously then why it's so sharp.
Facts.
Exactly.
Yeah, Iggy is Iggy like most of the time he's like already starting to like clean up the verse. Like after Josh records his shit, like Iggy's already just like, yo, let me just clean this up a little bit. He's already working on it. So then he runs it back a couple times, we hear it. And then so on and so forth. So you get a good feel of the song by the end of the actual like creation of it. So
did you say you wrote it together as well? You were kind of writing it with each other that night.
Yeah. Like we was in B room, right? We was in B.
Yeah, we was in B room. Yeah. It was in the big B.
Yeah, man. He was in the big B room, boy.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, we wrote it together. Oh, just because we heard it was like, I don't know if that was the idea from Iggs or not. I just know like
I don't remember. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it was. I think it might have just been how we were feeling, and then we just did that shit. But yeah, did that shit in the B room and came back in the A. It's fucking alcohol everywhere. That bitch.
Oh man,
that was a good night.
I think we were swinging Jameson that night.
Yeah, we probably were.
It might have been some Jameson.
It might have been some Irish whiskey for real.
It might have been the Jamie, dog.
Yeah, Jamie. You gotta blame
because that was a night that Gavin was there.
Gavin pulled up. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was swinging Jameson. That's funny.
Your partners, Alex. We had a moment. We just had to. I was trying to re-jog my memory in that moment, and you really helped us just now, Alex. Thank you.
For real.
Is it easier to be honest in your music, like how you're saying there? You know, you're writing it together. Is it easier to be honest and kind of true to yourself in your music when you're operating as a group with other people, and there's a support network like directly there in the music and not just surrounding it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it helps because we all are like in the same page, on the same boat together. So it's easier for us. I personally, for me talking, like we all can relate to about the same shit because we're all going through the same shit. So like a bit more like smoother to like kind of or feel like we could be open, as honest as much as we can. I mean, obviously on our own personal stuff, we pretty much do the same, but just to be with a bunch of people that you can relate to, based off your surroundings or what you guys are going through together. Yeah, 100%. Easier with all of us.
Was that something you had from the off, or how long kind of after working as a group did you gain that?
I mean, for me, it kind of always felt like I knew we were gonna be here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
From the beginning, I knew we would get here. So, you know what I'm saying? Like getting too personal on the verses.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely always wanted to put the group in a good light by what I say. You know what I mean? So I'd never, you know what I'm saying, do something that would, potentially jeopardize the outlook of Seeyousoon. So I definitely keep it. I am always very like needy of the group's, like view or opinion on what I'm saying. So it does factor into me. It helps me a lot. It helps me a lot to continue to create shit.
Same as fuck.
Is that kind of what 47 is about as well? What you were saying there about how you knew the group was going to get here?
Oh, don't say that. Yeah, I gotta go back and listen to it. Oh my god.
Yo, that's funny. Alex, what's real interesting about a lot of these songs, when we wanted to like write a lot of these, it's not. I wouldn't say that we didn't have like an idea in mind, like conceptually, like how we were gonna approach it all the time. But a lot of times, like we'll go in and we'll just kind of do what we feel and how it comes out, which is kind of cool, because now we can look back and ask these questions and we're like, holy shit, damn, that was a bit prophetic and it's like, and it's writing and it's, as far as like 47 goes, I'm not sure if 47 was necessarily like what we was aiming for, but I think I can't really do this on my own, because I was done before the whole group was even assembled. So it's kind of crazy, but yeah, like it's
facts.
definitely for these, like a lot of these records, like it's like really like man, like this is how we feel. This is how it makes us feel. Let's just try to make sure that we all can equally live on this song and have it make sense once we get all the pieces together. That's crazy. Yeah, I guess in hindsight, I would say so about 47 because there is that sentiment there. But I know like going into it wasn't necessarily something that we thought about, when we were writing it. But that is crazy.
What's the significance of that number to you?
Yeah, see, I wish that man Drex was on here.
Maddie, yeah, Drex and Maddie, because they really break it down. But I know Drake's really the guy. I couldn't even really tell you all the way. Like I know, like it's something that's it's something that he adopted for himself, and then it just kind of it just made sense for us because like we just started seeing fucking 47s everywhere. Like,
yeah, Drake's like passed that shit to us. But I know 47 is it's somewhat a representation of the area code 407, which is Orlando,
sure. Right?
Which is like where we're from.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he just dropped the O.
Right.
But yeah, 47 is just a number that like had been following him. And then once they pointed it out to me, like I started seeing that shit everywhere. And yeah, I mean, yeah, the same for all
of us.
And
I want to say 47 is Maddie's life path number, which is fucking crazy. As well, or some shit like that. I think so. Something crazy. Like I know it has in like numerology, it's like an angel number, some crazy shit. It's like, you know, it's yeah, that motherfucker. For me, it's just like
so it came full circle.
Yeah, everything was just kind of it just comes full circle for us. So I guess that's the significance, you know. And yeah, we kind of just adopted it and we ran with it. It just became a thing of, you know, of the group, and you know, God bless Drex and like his whole, you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy.
Do you remember the last time you saw it somewhere? The way you're seeing, you started seeing it everywhere.
I know it was that one night we was at the lab, and like this nigga Kenny was washing clothes. Kenny was washing some clothes, and he had put the timer on or whatever, and Mitch had looked up, and literally on the clock was 47 minutes left. And so we just took a picture of that shit, and he sent it. He like literally.
Yeah, I want. That's wild. Like, yo, I think I've literally seen it like yesterday, like 2 times. Like I just like, and it's always like something. Most of the time, it's like looking at the time. I look at the time, it's like fucking 1:47, or it's like 2:47. Bro, like there was one day I've seen that shit like every hour, literally like for 8 hours. I've seen a 47 like every fucking hour. I don't know what it was, but yeah, sometimes like it'll be something like even crazier than that. Like it'll be on like your receipt or some shit. So yeah, it's
definitely a guiding number.
Facts.
Fascinating. It's interesting that 47 has ended up being, you know, about this kind of bigger thing that seems to bleed into your life a lot and kind of follow you everywhere to a certain extent.
Yeah.
When the other song on the record that has a number as the title, 3001, is a song that is like completely looking at the bigger picture, and you're kind of looking at stuff like, I think you're kind of speaking about gun control and political problems and lobbying and stuff like that.
That record is pretty like, you know, it's crazy after hearing it now, I'm like, damn, this shit is hella political. because Jackson's verse is, you know, he's touching on the gun control and
America,
lobbying, right? And then I mean, I hopped on there, and I was kind of in a way trying to speak about my skin color and the plight of Black folk. So like I just fed off right off of what Drex was doing, you know what I'm saying? And then that shit came together. The reason why it's called 3001 has nothing to do with that, by the way. Like it's literally like there was Iggy made the beat, and this beat was done back in like 2017. So this is like literally like well over a year before I even knew any of them. You know what I'm saying? But Drex and Iggy and Kenny, they're all pretty tight. You know what I'm saying? But they had did that beat years ago at this apartment complex out here in Orlando called 55 West. And it's like a high rise and shit. And they were up high as fuck. And like while Iggy was making the beat, apparently Drex, there was a train that passed by. He saw the train, and on the train it just said 3001. And he thought it was so cool. Like the beat was playing and the train rolling by. And he see the 3001. He's like, oh shit, hell yeah. This bitch is called 3001, so that's how you wrote the hook.
Nice.
So really,
that's fine. I didn't even know that story. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then Drex just kind of went in on some, like, you know, kind of, I guess is how he was feeling about, you know, the state of this great nation at the moment, or at that time, which is nothing really has changed, but if anything, it's probably gotten a little bit more crazier, a little more frenzy. Kind of delved into some things about that, and same as me, and that's how that shit came together. Call that whole 3001 because it just felt like the future. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was just thinking about something there as you were speaking. It's the album's 14 tracks, right?
Yeah.
33 minutes.
Yeah.
What's 14 plus 33?
Is that fucking 40? That's 47.
That's 47. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Alex, what
What
did you do?
you open the Pandora's box, bro. Whoa, hold on,
Hey,
man. Let me do the
hey,
confirmations.
X-Files
Dog,
theme. X-Files theme intensifies.
14 songs, 33
33
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah. Damn, that's crazy.
That's so sick.
Yo, that's crazy.
Hey, Alex, man. Yeah, you good at math, man? You just did that on the
fly.
I was just thinking about it. I was like, fuck. Oh.
Yeah.
That's pretty tight.
Crazy.
We had not even thought of that.
G.
Yeah.
That's different. Oh my gosh. I'm about to.
Nah, lob that inside. We can't wait. We gotta tell you about Alex. Y'all supposed to be here. Man. Alex over here putting the pieces together more. The plot thickens, man. Damn, that's badass.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that also kind of highlights the fact that the record moves at such a speed. 14 tracks in 33 minutes. It's going at some pace. At what point do you kind of get a sense of that and start to view the record as a whole in that way, and the kind of momentum of it and the way it moves from song to song at speed?
Man. To be honest, I don't even really. I mean, I know there were moments where, when we were like, I guess, kind of coming down to like, how are we going to track list this whole thing? There were moments where we felt like, okay, this section, the top section was real crazy, or like not real crazy, but real more like dancey, and then like you get to like the middle section, it's real hype. You get to like that right before you get to the end, you know what I'm saying? It kind of mellows out.
The moment that it felt like an album for me was, I want to say, like, Josh, when you recorded V-Day, that for me was my moment outside of like hearing the album itself. So like during the process of creating it, when I heard you, like when you laid down V-Day, I was like, yo, damn, this is fucking beautiful. It's gonna tie this shit up really good. Listening to the album, like after it's released, like the moment where I just really start to feel like, yo, damn, this is like I'm in here. Like I'm like they took me to their world. Is Every Time I Die is when I get that feeling.
Word.
Every Time I Die sounds like we've now like kind of experienced a few different sounds, and now we've, you know what I'm saying, kind of gotten to know each other, so to speak. And you know now it's just like Every Time I Die for me definitely gives me like a deep album kind of feel. Like it's kind of surrounded me at that point. So.
Yeah, I guess by that point as well, the sense that we have of the group is kind of solidified.
Right.
Facts.
Yeah, and once that's done, you can kind of push the sound in slightly different directions. Because, I mean, when it comes to the soundscape of it and like textures-wise and beats, it does get a little bit kind of farther out the further in you go to the album.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
After that, you got Hatred, Patois, speaking like Jamaican Patois on Hatred, and then, you know what I'm saying?
It kind of really does open up crazy.
Yeah.
47, then no.
Yeah, 47 and No Beast, yeah.
Damn, it does really. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
right after that.
I mean, when you're playing with so many textures, where do you kind of find the sounds that you're going to use?
Man, for me, it's like all about like how it, I guess, feels when we hear the production, and how that production might, I guess, help accompany all the other records, and with different types of production and shit, right? Like I think that in itself really like makes that fucking train go a bit. What up, Kenny?
What up? My bad being so late. I was super caught up.
Oh no, you good, bro.
It's all good?
Good, G. All good. You're here now.
I'm good.
This is probably a great question. This is probably a great question that Kenny would love to answer too. If Alex, if you could repeat that.
What's up, Alex?
Hey, nice to meet you. Where do you... I mean, we were just speaking about the kind of textures that you're playing with on this record and the way you push it in so many different directions. Where do you find the sounds that you use to craft those kind of textures and play with?
Oh, hell yeah. That just comes from me and Iggy, the other producer, and Denny. We all sort of come from a very technical standpoint in a way. Like we like sort of dissecting stuff and trying to make it musical. it just comes from years of deep diving on SoundCloud, sort of being in that whole realm between like 2010 and 2015. There was just so much, like, it was sort of like this boom of Ableton and exploring and exploiting like all different audio effects within there, and sort of just tapping into this new world of like ultra digital shit. It really, really came together where we have a lot of the same musical taste, so we sort of just brought together both the technical side of things and tried to bring in our influences of stuff over time. And really at the end of the day, it's like the chemistry between us that really makes it all work.
Big facts.
Hell yeah.
Do you have a kind of, you're saying that, you know, you'll find some of it from like SoundCloud and stuff. Do you have a kind of big vault of stuff that you save that you think this could be something that would be cool to experiment with?
Oh, hell yeah. Like artists?
Yeah.
So you could, Courteous Family is a group of collectives where they're very, very forward left field, but their stuff is super cool. It's like Saruda, my boy, Noah the Boy from Wisconsin up north there. There's actually a group here in Orlando called Easy Bake that's on there. But yeah, Courteous Family is really cool. All things from like old selection days, like Mr. Carmack and like Jonathan Stein and like, of course, Fly Low, Hudson Mohawk, Bauer in the early days was pushing boundaries. All these dudes were just killing it, man. It was so new to us, and we were just losing our minds to it. Akali Medicine. There's this whole group called Film Noir. There were all these like 17-year-old kids that were just way ahead of their time. They were killing it, man. Yeah, that's like Oshi, Medicine, Akali, Monty Booker, Sam Gallatry. All it's just
shit, Monty Booker's a part of that shit?
Hell yeah. Yeah, okay. Man. He's deep in there. He's actually a great example of someone too who sort of came out of that era where, you know, he took that with him, and he's still making that very like forward production where it collides very well with, you know, what people want to hear. So it's good. Would love to meet him one day and sort of pick his brain.
Yeah, I met Monty Booker. It was
really
fucking crazy. Yeah, it was like years ago, like in Tallahassee. He came to Tally to do this I guess this like show where he like just came and DJ'd, and like I remember he played us like this exclusive remix of Smino's Anita with T-Pain. Nobody had heard it before.
Fire.
So he pulled up and did it. And No, it's nothing. I just remember meeting that nigga, and that nigga was like, "Yo, what's your name, man?" And I was like, "Yo, my name's Crimson." At the time, my hair was red, so he's like, "Crimson." He's like, you know what I'm saying? He was like, "Yo, he's like, you make music?" I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm artist." He's like, "Yo, man, I want to check your shit out, man." But he never checked my shit out. But it's all good, man. Shout out he's still fire though, you know.
Yo, another sidebar with him, dude. Like a good one for people to listen to is his first white label selection release. That was very much the Monty Booker that I'm talking about. He has a song with that's sort of like where him and Smino, I think, really like lifted off, was a song called Colors with them. And he has he has another one. I think it's called Home, or it's one of the songs on there that I still listen to this day. There's a groove to that song that like it's just unmatched. It's so good. Yeah, and a big shout out to Kalen Ellis as well. He's definitely part of the group. He's out here pushing boundaries as well.
Kalen.
Kalen. Killing shit, boy.
It's interesting that the common thread of all the artists you mentioned there seems to be this idea of them being either ahead of their time or quite forward thinking, which is something you could similarly apply to you guys' music. Have you always been quite forward thinking as a group of individuals?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, 100%. 100.
I think a lot of us. I could be wrong, and like I definitely don't want to speak for everybody when I say this, but like just thinking out loud, it could be sort of like it could be a product of us all sort of trying to make music for years and sort of exploring like what we like, and a lot of us have been doing it for, you know, like just trying different things for like 7-8 years now, and it got to a point where it's like, yo, I want to make some things that, you know, I've never heard before.
Yep.
And it was a lot of that common thread between us all, where we all just sort of collided at the right time, and we started making things that we've never thought we could ever make, and like it's a blessing, man. Absolutely,
especially being from out here in like Florida specifically, like hip hop music in general. But there are some dope groups and acts who are very forward thinking with their music. But I feel like coming out of Florida, it was something that I think we all kind of didn't really hear.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So we felt like, damn, it'd be cool if we kind of married all of these elements together to really kind of set a tone or create our own lane and be as progressive as possible. Just based off of our like surroundings, kind of helped us gain that inspiration and like really just make this shit like different as much as we can. And different is such a broad term, but just I guess I could say different from what we were surrounded by, and what we hear.
Facts.
9 times out of 10.
Facts. Yeah. Coming up, like the music we make now is like music I would like have dreamed to make. Like I feel like just now listening to this, like some of the shit we've done, it's like, bro, like I feel like I'm listening to like another, like someone else. Like this ain't even us right now. Like progression has always been kind of on my mind, me personally too.
Big facts.
It's interesting you're saying there as well, Kenny, that you're kind of making music that you never thought you could make, and you're kind of making these forward-thinking things. Do certain songs open doors for you? Like, will you write a track and then it kind of opens a pathway that you wouldn't have previously seen, and suddenly you can create a whole bunch of new stuff by going down it?
Our whole second album was that. Our whole second album was me and Iggy would throw the most maximalist beats at all the singers and songwriters in Seeyousoon, and they would just find these pockets that I could never dream of, and like I'm still just floored. I mean, I tell them like maybe like every month and a half or so, where I'm just like, yo, I just can't believe what you guys did here. But it's absolutely amazing, dog. And it opened up a lot, and it's sort of like this controlled chaos in a way, where it's very, very maximalist production, and where they're able to just come out and just sort of put a bow on top of the whole thing, and sort of just wraps it all up, keeps it in time, finding the right pocket. It really has opened up a lot for at least us as the producers to sort of just be able to explore even more and find more and more chemistry within our bounds. So it's awesome.
I like that idea of controlled chaos.
It's exactly what it is, man.
It's a fact. Yo.
Yes.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Exactly what it is.
I mean, you'll definitely hear a bit of it this week on Friday. You'll definitely get a little glimpse of what I'm talking about.
Nice.
Word.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan.
Yeah.
Do you think being in a group of 9 people brings more control or more chaos to the process of making music as a whole?
I honestly I don't think we think that deep. I think we just really, really like being around each other, and we bring each other's best out of each other. And I mean, that's really where my thinking stops. Like, it's just like, man, when we're all together and we hit a stride, and the Seeyousoon Holy Spirit comes on through, like it is seriously something to behold. It is absolutely gorgeous, and it's happened enough times now where there's definitely something going on where it's just like, hey, let's just keep doing what we're doing. Let's have fun. Let's enjoy each other's company. And at the end of the day, that's really all we can ask for. So making good music, being around the homies.
Oh yeah, I second that.
It's interesting as well, what you mentioned about the beats for the second record kind of being a bit more maximalist. When it comes to the point of view of rapping atop them, if a beat's maximalist or a beat's minimalist, how does that kind of impact your approach to the words you're going to put on top of it in your performance?
Great question. It's like hard to like really. I guess I'd say like if it's more maximalist, meaning like okay, there's way more elements here in the production. Maybe it probably best serves for me to write something that isn't as equally fucking nuts, just because I would like for the production to be, we'd all like the production to like have a moment. You know what I'm saying? Where you can hear everything, what the fuck is going on. Me as a writer, you just as a writer find a very interesting pocket, or like a pocket that where you feel like you're just kind of writing over it, and you're not trying to attack it. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. I would say for me, a lot of the stuff that you guys are going to hear, like going forward, leading up to the second album, is going to be really different. So hearing that, obviously, like this was like the first time I had ever like written to anything like that. So I would definitely like, I guess for me, like just going into it, once I get the beat, I already like instantly, like probably like in like the first 30 seconds, I'll get a feeling from it already. But I just, I don't know, for me, I just always want to say something that's semi cool, that can make someone say, hey man, like that's pretty tight what this guy said right there. Like it don't even got to be nothing like crazy over the top, but you know, I just always go into it like, yo, let me just say at least one cool thing, and I should be fine. And I just kind of ride it out.
Hell yeah.
That's a fact.
It's cool too. Like as we, you know, we're still just tip of the iceberg when it comes to just our capabilities as a group too, and the more we just sort of explore, you sort of find, like from a producer's point of view, it's like Josh has a beautiful singing voice. He's very articulate when he raps, and he can have like a nice groove, slower rap too, where it's like you have all these different things where you can pick from the arsenal. And sometimes we might be like, hey, you should do this, and he'd be like, nah, I was really thinking that we should do like a melody. It's like, bet, let's try that out. And like that kind of exploration is what we're doing right now, which is a lot of fun. And each member sort of has something to bring to the table, and it's like just fit in the right puzzle pieces. Like Mitch has a really good way of where there's a dance record on the second album, where it's a flow I've just straight up never heard before, where I'm just like, I have no idea what you did there, dude, but that is out of here. No Daylight, Mitch, your shit is crazy.
Hey, smash out of the park.
It's an absolute smash out of the park right there, kid. But yeah, it's just cool. Like Maddie's rapping a lot more. She also can sing like a beautiful angel. So it's just cool being able to sort of like find these different rhythms with everyone. So
are you ever thinking about the group when you're making a beat and how it might factor in to their kind of approach to, you know, rapping or singing?
Yeah, sometimes for sure. Sometimes there's a lot of times they take the lead, and it, like I said, that Seeyousoon spirit just comes on through, man. It's above us sometimes. Like it just is magic sometimes. But like a song we just did 2 days ago, absolutely gorgeous track. And that was one where I was making the beat. We had another member, Drex. He came in, he did something to it. It gave me more of a feeling where the song was going to go. And I sort of pointed out like, hey, let's have Maddie sing, like Josh try some melodic stuff here. Mitch can rap right here. And everybody did that, and it came out awesome. And that doesn't always happen, but when it does and it all sort of clicks, it's something to behold. So lucky as a producer to have all these talented people around me. So blessing.
We lit.
Is the excitement that you get from like adding something into a song in that way different to the excitement you would get if you take something out of a mix?
Yeah, could you elaborate on that a little bit more?
In terms of, you're kind of expressing there that when you add all these things in, it kind of gives the whole thing a real boost, and you get that feeling of it all falling together. When you're kind of editing songs later on, and maybe you decide to take something out of a mix, and it changes the way that you feel about the song and twists it, are those two feelings of excitement a different feeling, or are they the same thing, even though you're doing the kind of opposing actions?
No, I think that real feeling, that big rush, always just comes for whatever feels best for the song. So like if it's taken out or adding more, you only get it once. You get that feeling that one time we're like, oh my god, like this is it. So taking out or adding more, it's just trying to find that right sweet spot. I mean, that too, like I added a little more of, it was just, for example, like a Maddie section. I doubled it because it sounded so good in the moment, and then like 30 minutes later, I took it out again, and it felt a lot better. And it was sort of everyone being like, I think we should cut it back again. And it's like, yeah, let's do that, and that feeling comes back. So
is that feeling of what's right for the song different to the feeling of just being excited about a good piece of work in general, or a good like bar or whatever, or a good beat? Because what can excite you because it's good might not necessarily always be right for the song, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we actually just sort of started to get into more of like conceptual stuff. So like sometimes we'll be making something where we feel like, oh, this could be something crazy for a single or this or that after the fact, and then it keeps going and it starts to take more of a fold, and it's like, hey, I think this belongs in this realm. And I'm trying to think. Does that answer your question at all? Sorry.
That thing you're saying there though about, you're thinking about it in a conceptual way more, was that something you didn't have on the first record? Or is that something
We definitely do, but like we haven't really started a project going into it like that. It was more about like we were so linked up as friends and we were going through a lot of the same shit personally, where like it's sort of like I said, it's just this, to me at least, like it feels like it's sometimes just bigger than us, man. Like there's there's 9 different creative, yeah, like there's like 9 different creatives around this one project, and it's like you'll be surprised like how little arguments there are when it comes to like just arrangements or songs, or like arguments is the wrong word, just like any sort of dissonance between them. Like it, when we make something, like we all really do feel if it's special, like everybody knows that it's special. They all sort of fit like the times very well. Like it's we're super lucky to be able to have like all of us being able to express ourselves in a similar fashion. And we did 2 albums like that where I was like, wow, like we're really hitting like these cool conceptual projects without even truly being like setting it out and laying it out before we actually go into it. And we're doing that now
Facts.
with what would be the 3rd album. And sometimes we'll get these sparks where we'll be making a song and it's for like a single or a different idea, but it comes out so in line with that concept where it's like, hey, let's have it for that. Like, let's put it in that pocket now. We're diving more and more into that, and it's exciting, and it's more growth for the group, and it's fun.
You mentioned something a little while back that you get a feeling sometimes, when you're on the same page and you all connect and it almost feels like a bigger thing and like it's coming from somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Do you get that feeling anywhere else in your life at any other time?
Oh, yeah.
By myself when I'm making music for myself. I'm like, whoa, what the hell's going on here, bro? What is this? What is this?
Facts.
Yeah,
I would agree.
me
I would
too.
agree, man. It's definitely like this. It's definitely tied to music, but just having that element of just having like making music with like a group of your best friends and shit. I think that right there is sort of unmatched for me and like an uncharted feeling. So
yeah, for sure. So after you're going on, you've kind of been speaking a little bit about the future more, the 2nd and even possibly the 3rd albums that are upcoming or that are in the works. When you're working on the first record, it's kind of treading into new waters a little bit. You're just making your debut record, you haven't done it before. How did that part of it impact the record itself and that feeling of being a little bit unexperienced and kind of figuring it out for the first time in comparison to what you've done since?
I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
for a second.
I was about to say, bro,
God.
it really was. It's just that thing, just bigger than us, and we were just making stuff we loved.
That became more of a thing after the album was finished, and we were talking rollout and coverage and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like I've never dealt with that, so that was a little at times could feel a little daunting. As far as like the creative side of it, man, like I don't think there was any major hiccup or anything like that from anyone.
That's a fact.
So
yeah, it's about kind of having that confidence in yourself. Again, I know we were speaking about 47 earlier. It kind of comes back to that. That's what you're speaking about in that song a little bit. It's about having that faith in yourself and not being afraid to show it.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely comes back. Yeah, full circle for real. That's definitely like important for us, and from the get go, from the jump, I should say, rather than because it's really just been very confident in what we each can bring to the table musically, and we just keep pushing, we keep moving like that.
I think a really big part of that too is just the respect that goes around the table for everyone in the group. Everyone trusts everyone and what they can do and what they can deliver. So someone's really feeling like a certain part and they come in hot and it's just something great, man. It's like everyone has sort of like what I was tying to earlier, like everyone just has these little moments of like, oh my God, man, so cool to like be able to witness and be a part of that feeling. So
how involved are you like in the visual side of the group as well, with like the music videos and the kind of sort of documentary series you did? Because it feels like something that kind of carries into that a little bit, that electric energy, particularly the music videos.
yeah, we're in there, man. I think we're in there. We're in there.
We're pretty in there when it comes to
touch all that.
Comes to the visual aspect. I think it's something that we're really trying to get into more, like really like just kind of take up that mantle.
It's all the talks really right now.
Right, visually. But even for our prior stuff, our stuff that's already out right now, it's definitely like all us. You know?
Like a really big thing that we talk about all the time. COVID wasn't going on since the birth of the group. Is just how fun and cool the live shows would be for us, and all the different different ideas that we've thrown around for sets. And I'll keep all that information pretty tucked for now. We'll just wait until there's live shows, but just know that we're definitely plotting a lot when it comes to live shows. So would you
ever direct a video, do you think?
Well, we sort of every time I die video we did.
We co-directed. I said we co-directed.
Yeah, I would say co-directed. We had our friend Colin come in and sort of straighten it all out and really put it into video form. But the concept and just from scene to scene was a very joint project. So
yeah, for sure.
And we're trying to move like that moving forward too. So
do you ever write music with images in your mind? Do images come into your mind when you're working on music?
Sometimes for me, sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes, I'll definitely have an image or like this picture of maybe, and sometimes that might help me write, and it might enhance my writing because I have this image of, certain things in my head. I'm like, oh, I can, translate that to words, you know what I'm saying? In a weird way, So yeah, for sure. Like it happens sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's just like just straight up with it, like, you know what I mean? Just black out kind of.
Yeah, I'm learning too. I'm learning too, as we keep going on here, that I didn't know what the name of the project affects like a lot of their writing. Sometimes not, but like I've been told by a few people in the group where like whatever it's called like can really sort of like shift gears in the imagery or like what they want to talk about. So
yeah, I can attest to that. For sure. But for me personally, like sometimes when I'm writing shit, like a common image that'll pop into my head is like us performing, I'll just see us performing this song, like how we would move on stage. It'd just be like more of like a vision of that, and just play that in my head a couple times, and that sometimes does help how I write because I'm like, okay, how would this translate live? You know what I mean? Like, how can I twist this and perform it live? So I guess not necessarily I guess still an image still, but like more just thinking about like us and like how we look performing it live, like on a stage, like freaking at like I'm thinking about us performing at Coachella, like, or, you know what I'm saying, like some wild shit. And yeah, sometimes that helps.
Almost thinking about the way that it flows as a group as well, then, and the kind of energy of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Kenny, you were saying a little while back that the name of a project can really affect what you're crafting. Do you mean like the name of the track, or what were you kind of?
Yeah. Name of the track, not like a album or anything, but just like just naming something proper to whatever that feeling I get. Or if it's something where like if me and Iggy sit down and it like we just want to name it properly where we can sort of send it in the right direction of what we were feeling from it. It doesn't always, it's not like 100% right, but it's just, I know like Mitch has told me before, like that really helps him and like gives him sort of like a little direction when it comes to like writing. And so I've been more conscious of that when it comes to naming songs instead of naming them like Super Sick Project 1.2 or some shit like that, actually giving it like actually giving it like a cool name. Like we do colors actually pretty frequently. Like we just made one that was titled Red, and like red was perfect for like the vibe of that song. So it's just cool to sort of see that come to life.
What color would you associate with the record, the first album?
That is, we went back and forth on the album cover. So those colors on the cover of that like really does the yellow, orange, and blue really, really, I feel like is V-Day.
Is that something to do with Florida as well? Because when I look at that cover, it kind of brings up in my mind connotations of like a Florida sunset or whatever. But I don't know if that was.
Hey, yeah, we like that. Hey, we like that.
That's actually
tight.
That's
tight as hell.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
That's tight. Nah, I think what was, I forgot what the idea for the. I know it was like just 3 primary colors, and I'm trying to remember like how.
Well, I think we ran through in chat, and we were like, "Yo, like, what colors come to mind?" And then we all just put like we all put a few colors in, and then we just whittled it down.
Tallied them up, and those were the 3 that everybody felt the most.
That man, okay, word.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Those are early days, so that's why I really, really do feel like really do feel like that is V-Day, like as wholesome as possible. Like that, those colors are it.
Has the stuff you've been working on since taken on a slightly different palette of colors?
Yeah.
yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah, we've evolved.
Sure.
Honestly, we've evolved quite a bit since V-Day. I mean, we're trying to like, you know, keep it like we don't want to get too far away from like V-Day is a great album, you know, but like the stuff we have been doing is out of here. So like it's just it's you know, it's humbling. We're doing things, so it's good. It's good.
Yeah, for sure.
What is working with each other and working with a group as a whole reveal to you most about yourself?
Collaboration is a beautiful, beautiful thing to behold, and I don't think a lot of people really get to find it as well as we have.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that. I've collabed with a lot of people over the years, just on a producer tip, not much of like with singers or songwriters, and like, hey man, that's like for me, like I like to sort of be spearheading things. So like it's kind of hard where like if I'm feeling a certain way and it just doesn't click like 3 out of 4 times with people, but somehow we got 9 people together and all of us are just synced, man. And like it's just it's crazy. It's really, really good. Really, really nice.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts, bro. For me, I would say like there's times where I was like with music, I would kind of just like want to distance myself because I've worked with people in the past and like it always hasn't gone smooth. So to me, it just proved that like I just need to surround myself with the right people. And kind of not close myself off because there are times where I had been in the past, just kind of wanted to just, you know, do my own things and kind of leave the outside influence to a minimum. But I was fucking wrong. So like definitely that's just showed to me that, you know, like energy is strong, energy is important.
Yes,
like
because
with creating music, just like you're around the right people.
Favorite songs, even if it's from an individual artist, you know, collaboration is still at the heart of it. You know, there's a multitude of producers, songwriters that might write on one song for one artist, you know, but there's a team of people working together, and a lot of times I think that goes unnoticed, you know, because when they see like a group of people actually putting out shit like together and fitting on one song, I guess like it's become way more common now. I feel like, you know what I'm saying. But I remember times where like being a group was like group, like, you know,
I still get people that occasionally say some dumb shit like that to me. So
I'm just like, well, you just don't understand, and that's okay. You know, I'm here to, you know, it's all good, you know. But yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Collaboration is key.
That's all it is.
I think it's with anything in life, you know, you need help. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna need people. You know what I mean? I feel like for the most part, a good support system can never do you wrong. So I think that's one thing that this has taught me. Creating with a group of artists who we share the same vision and goal. very, very fucking important, if not the most important thing. Like,